Welcome to Rocky Broad Solar, where we encourage you to make the current flow. On today's episode, we're going to be installing the new WattCycle server rack batteries. This is one of the most affordable server rack batteries on the market today, where you can really save a good bit of cost, but not really compromise on quality. Many other YouTubers have done teardowns and reviews on these batteries. I'm not going to go into that because there's plenty of videos out there already. But they've all come to the same conclusion, which is you're not really sacrificing quality for cost. This battery comes with an LCD screen, an on-off switch, a built-in 125 amp breaker. Comes in with the terminals for connecting your positive and negative home runs from the batteries. A little grounding screw. Comes with CAN, RS485, RS232. And some additional Ethernet ports to link batteries together. As always, if you're in the market for one of these WattCycle server rack batteries, I'll leave some links down in the description below, as well as a coupon code I was able to get from WattCycle on this one. And that way you could save yourself a little bit more money on top of whatever other deals are going on at this time. Let's get back into it. Alright, so what comes in each package is the battery itself. Got these little jumpers. Now that's if you're using a battery rack. And you're going to connect each battery individually to the battery rack, which is what I would do if I were buying a whole stack of these batteries and connecting it to an inverter of this kind. Get a little grounding cable that does the same. You got these two brackets. That's what would lock the battery securely into the battery rack. Got this little communication jumper that would be for daisy chaining multiple batteries together. We've got a bunch of screws here for attaching the terminals into the positive and negative leads. We've got these little covers, so once you're all done, you put them over and cover up anything current carrying. And we got these lifting handles that come off and on. Hey, this stuff can be complex and expensive. If you're just a little bit overwhelmed and you're trying to find a professional to install your solar and storage, go down in that description below, click on our Rocky Broad Solar intake form. Just take a few minutes to fill out some questions about your specific scenario, and we'll get back to you within a few days with a zero-cost, pressure-free quote. Let's get back into it. Okay, so just to review where we're at here, we've got our positive home run here tied to the positive terminal, our negative home run here tied to the negative terminal. We're going to go ahead and put these on here in a second to cover those up. We got our CAN RS485 connected up there to the battery communications port in the 12000 XP. Now we've got our positive home run running through a fuse there. You know, I'll leave it up to y'all whether you think that's necessary or not. We do have a circuit breaker for the batteries over here in the 12000 XP. We also have a circuit breaker on each battery itself, and we have a BMS, but the thought is if you have a short somewhere in there, it's best to have a fuse as close to the battery bank as possible. And being that I'm going to be swapping out batteries here and testing all different kinds of batteries over the coming years, I just wanted to go ahead and get one in there in line. Technically, you should have, if you're using 2-watt, you should have 2 home runs through there. I am going to do that in the future once I'm connecting larger batteries, just not doing it for the purpose of this video. Now we've got the case of the battery down here grounded. That's super important in case there's ever a ground fault. It's got a path to ground. It goes up through there and lands in the ground bar of the 12000 XP. All right, well, I think it's time to turn this thing on and get her connected and start playing with the settings. Are you a DIYer out there being a little bit overwhelmed here with the thought of doing your own solar and battery system? We'll go down in that description below. Check out our Rocky Broad Solar Ultimate DIY Guide. You just go to the website there, you click on that free download button. It'll give you some good tips and tricks on how to choose the right equipment, how to get it installed in a safe, code compliant manner, how to get it past that final inspection. Let's get back into it. So I'm going to go over here and connect our AC power to the 12000 XP. We are going to go ahead and turn the battery breaker on. Seems kind of strange to me that this circuit breaker would have a cover on it. Usually you want your breakers readily available. I'm not sure what the purpose there is. All right, so battery breaker is on. We're going to go down here. We're going to turn the BMS on first. All right, now technically, if you were actually going to use these WattCycle batteries with the 12000 XP, the XP manual says to have a minimum of 400 amp hours. That would be 4 of these batteries here. Now, each of these batteries has like 5,000 watts output, I believe it is. So in my opinion, you could probably get away with 3, but 1 is just way undersized, right? This battery is way too small to handle the output of that inverter or the charging of the inverter. So I'm going to do my best here to set some parameters to kind of limit any issues that's going to cause. But just so you're aware, you know, I'm just doing this to create content. If I were going to use a whole stack of these WattCycle batteries with this inverter, you know, I'd probably at least buy 4 of them. I'm going to go ahead and just turn this circuit breaker on. Now, reading the manual here, it says the recommended charge current for one single battery is 20 amps, but it seems like it could go up to 50 amps. So at 20 amps, you got a 5-hour charge time. At 50 amps, you got a 2-hour charge time. But it's saying the recommended charging current is 20 amps. My guess is that is to kind of maintain the lifespan of the battery. All right, so I chose lithium, and the battery type I chose 1, and it did seem on the monitor up there, it seems like the battery is now communicating with the inverter. So I'm assuming that's good. I just kind of took my best guess, and it seemed to work. So I'll have to look into that further if that is the correct setting, but it does seem like we do have that closed loop communication between the battery and the inverter. And then I went ahead and I set discharge and charge limits again, because this battery is way undersized for this inverter, and you're going to want at least 3. EG4 is suggesting at least 400 amp hours. So 3 to 4 batteries minimum is kind of what you're going to want if you are installing these WattCycle batteries with your 12,000 XP at home. For the demonstration purposes of this video, you know, I didn't have the change to sink into buying a whole rack of these batteries, so I'm just getting kind of 1 here to test it out and get a feel for it. Well, the discharge and charge currents are limited. I'm going to go ahead and turn on the DC disconnect, and I'm going to turn on the load to the home. I'm going to switch the home over here to the 12,000 XP. So that connected my solar panels here to the 12,000 XP. All right, so you'll see we're making about 500 watts, a little over 500, climbing up closer to 600 watts now. Sending 400 watts to the battery bank. 65 watts, I guess, is maybe just what the 12,000 XP is using to run itself. Next, I'm going to go ahead and flip on the load to the home. Go here, flip on the load breaker. All right, and so now we're flipping on the generator interlock kit here to connect the 12,000 XP to the backup panel rather than my grid power passing through the grid bus. Boom. We're running on 12,000 XP. All right, so yeah, not a ton of power here. We're using about 340 watts in the home. We're still making just under 600 watts from the array. Send in only, you know, between 50 and 100 watts to the battery. And that's just because we have not a ton of sun coming in right now. We have a 4,800 watt array up there, I believe it is, on the back porch. So if it were nice and sunny out today, we would bring in significantly more, and I would assume we'd be maxing out that battery charge power. So I think we're gonna go ahead and let this thing charge up for the rest of the afternoon and check back in on it tomorrow. Okay, and a few things I've written down here. So this is a UL listed battery. It's got a bunch of different certifications. It is not UL 9540 listed or UL 9540A listed when paired with a specific inverter. You know, most places in the country aren't really enforcing that these days, but a lot of areas of California, they're starting to in Texas, a lot of places in the Northeast. It really just depends on your AHJ. In my location, nobody cares about UL 9540A listings, but in some cases you do. And then if your AHJ does enforce that, that means you have to have a very specific battery inverter pair. The whole system has to be certified together. And so like if you're having a 12,000 XP, for example, you're only going to be able to currently pair that up with the EG4 indoor wall mount 280 amp hour battery to obtain that full UL 9540A listing. I'm guessing they're going to probably have that with the 314s now soon if they haven't already, but just something to note. Hey, it's compatible with a very long list of inverters, so you can go on the website. I'll do a screenshot here, but you know, this is basically a universal battery for any 48 volt inverter system. You can stack up to 20 of these batteries in parallel to get up to just over 100 kilowatt hours of storage. So you know, you could use these to back up pretty much any home in the US. The cells are lithium iron phosphate, the best battery technology really on the market today. and the cells are made by BYD, which is an extremely reputable manufacturer. It has built-in active balancing to make sure all the cells are equally balanced. That's going to prolong the lifespan of this battery bank and prevent premature failures. It's got an integrated BMS that has up to, I think, 20 different protections in place, such as high and low temperature protection, overcharging, over discharging, things of that nature. It's got that LCD touchscreen, so you can just kind of see what's going on with the battery at any given time right here in front of it. It also comes with a Bluetooth connection, and you can get a little WattCycle app where you manage the battery and check on everything there. I haven't even messed with the app. We're going to save that for a future video, but it is something, if that's something you're interested in, it has that ability. Comes with a 5-year warranty out of the box, and if you actually register it, you get an additional 2 years, which will bring it up to a 7-year warranty. And it's just made with this nice solid steel case. Everything is good quality materials. You know, they're not really cheaping out anywhere, and you're not seeing it built out of plastic or anything like that. So what do I think about the WattCycle batteries? I think it seems like a nice battery, nice solid construction. From all the other reviews I've seen, it doesn't seem like you're really sacrificing quality for that cost. You know, if you're really just trying to save a buck and install a system on your own home, it could be a good way to save a good bit of money and still get a nice solid battery bank. Again, if I were going to do this for my own home and have this be my primary battery bank and connected to a decent sized solar system and inverter, I'd get a whole rack of these batteries. I'd get the server rack. I'd get at least 4 batteries. Probably just go ahead and get 6 if you have the money. And that way you're just stocked up on batteries, and it's in a nice enclosure. It's not just laying loosely here, and it'll just kind of be a nice setup for you. Well, everyone, that's pretty much all we've got for you today. As always, I really appreciate each and every one of you for watching. Until next time, take care.